it's really hard to believe that here in Romania, after communism fell, the Oscars were actually a huge deal. I mean, it was a bigger deal than E3 used to be a big deal. You had the whole family gathering together in front of the television just to see the Oscars. And there were many reasons. You wanted the movie that you liked that year to actually win. But secondly, you also found out about various movies that you didn't know existed, and they might have been nominated and you might have missed. So it was a big thing. Now the Oscars are dropping in ratings like flies, and I'm not blaming them entirely for their performance, because on one hand, you also have very bad movies coming out. I mean, there is zero creativity in Hollywood. Everything is a sequel, a prequel, a remake, a reimagining. Very little creativity there. So the movies are bad. And there's also been a lack of movies because of COVID, okay? I mean, that's fair criticism. But like, to see millionaires and billionaires, like smug actors going on stage and lecturing you for not having a proper life. It's kind of like seeing the nobility lecturing the peasantry about how they're plowing their field improperly and how they're not pious enough, and they should do more to help the poor and the needy, because the peasants aren't doing enough, right? They need to donate more to the church. That's pretty much how it feels. And obviously people don't want to watch that. Like, people don't want to watch the nobility lecturing them. So they're tuning out, and in their infinite wisdom, the people who run the Oscars, they have figured out a way in order to get more people to come and watch them. It's like they need more diversity in the Oscars. So unless your movie has enough disabled people, enough gay people, or enough black people, it's not even going to be considered for the Oscars. So now when you create the movie, it's like playing StarCraft, and it's like, spawn more homosexual. You'd not enough black people. You know, it's just like so bizarre. Like, go at the Best Picture awards through the Oscars history, and except the last year, maybe 2 years ago, you probably heard of all the movies there and you would recommend them. I mean, you got Lord of the Rings, you got Forrest Gump, Titanic. If I'm not mistaken, I think The Godfather is there. I mean, like, these are movies that are so good that not only did they manage to impress a lot of Americans, but they impress people around the world. And they're timeless classics. I mean, you can watch Lord of the Rings even now, and it's really great. Even though technology advanced and people have more expectations when watching movies and they're more critical of the special effects and whatnot, Lord of the Rings is still good. But none of these movies that I just mentioned would manage to win the Oscars now. They wouldn't even be considered. Why? Because they don't have enough black or disabled people. It's fucking mental. It is absolutely mental. And this is why when you look last year at the best motion picture at the Oscar, I don't even know the name of the movie. I can't remember it. It was a movie that I haven't even seen. So like, you're like creating this weird, bizarre circle jerk where you're promoting some esoteric shit that no one heard about. And now the people writing the movies, they have to focus more on whether the checklist is working rather than whether the story is good or not. And not only that, like, there are movies that you can't even make anymore, if you think about it. Like, there was a movie, which I really liked, with a guy that was buried alive, and he's trying to get people to find him. And the entire movie is just him sitting in a coffin, using his cell phone and talking to people. So it's just one guy. But you wouldn't be able to do that, right? Because it's just one guy. Like, you don't have diversity. There's another movie that takes place in a phone booth. The entire film. Okay, you can't do that. I guess you can't do historical movies either. Unless you want to break immersion. You know, like, unless you want to make a movie about ancient Japan. And all of a sudden there's some white people over there that no one seems to notice. No one seems to care about. You know, everyone acts like they were there all the time. And, yeah, but not only that, you know, like, the concept of representation is so fucking toxic to the storyline, because the idea that a character represents an entire demographic means that when the character does something bad or is placed in a negative position, you're going to have progressives freak the fuck out. Like, they posted articles on MSNBC Because in the beginning of the Batman movie, there's this Asian guy which is being followed around, and people were upset because, well, if he's an Asian guy, then he represents Asians everywhere, and we live in a culture where Asian violence against Asians is at an all-time high. So why is Batman the movie, showing an Asian guy in peril so that Batman can rescue him later on? That's what representation does. Like, you can't create any character that goes through the human experience, because human beings, they have good times, they flourish, but they also suffer. So you gotta have like a character that in Gotham gets mugged and Batman rescues him. You can't have a character that's evil if he's of a particular race, because then again, like, if he is representing the whole race and he is evil, then that means that the whole group is evil, right? So it's just like, no one agrees with this. Like, if you actually ask people around, they don't agree with, like, the overwhelming majority of them outside of social media. They will find it absolutely ridiculous. But it's not organic. This is not normal. This is being enforced. So I predict that their ratings are going to plummet. Like, no one is going to watch this shit. And I don't know, like, if they want gay people in movies, like, have you asked China? I mean, China actually censored this stuff. And people who make movies, they want to sell it to the Chinese market. Now, the Chinese market already doesn't appreciate black people. This is why Disney, which is a very progressive company and lectures you about all the good things and whatnot, when they have posters in China, they minimize black people in the poster so that the Chinese audience doesn't get freaked out. I'm pretty sure you guys know about this, but like, the second thing is, like, they actually censor gay characters in movies. So this is why you don't see gay characters on the big screen. I don't know how they're going to do this. I mean, it's going to either that they're going to focus on the making money, and they're going to ignore the Oscars altogether, and then the Oscars are going to have like only 2 or 3 movies that actually fit, or they're going to just renounce making money, or cut a deal with China, or have like a version for the United States and a version for China. It's going to be very bizarre. I mean, they're getting themselves into this bizarre hole. I don't know how they're going to get out of it. So it is, and apparently it's because of Oscars So White. This controversy was so weird, because if you look at it, the number of black people that won the Oscars was exactly, like, very close to the number of black people in the United States. Like, it was so representative, but of course, like, they wanted 50-50, I guess, or some shit. But not to mention, like, who should say that the number of people in a profession that win awards should even be remotely the same, like the percentage of the people in the population? I mean, for example, let's say the best hackers in the world. Like, should the best hackers in the world be representative with the exact demographic of those people represented in the world itself? I mean, I don't understand. Like, should the best hackers in the world, like, should the 5% of them be Eskimos? Like, whatever. It is what it is. I genuinely think that this is going to cause American entertainment to plummet, but that's a good thing, because South Korea is making good shit. Japan is making good anime. So that's why we're going to get. I don't know who's going to watch movies at this rate. Like, what is there to be excited of? Which movies are coming out that you guys are really excited about? Because I can't think of a single one. And it's so sad, because years ago I would be like, oh, well, there's a new Star Wars movie coming out. Oh, like, look, this Avatar movie looks interesting. But now, when I hear that there's a sequel coming out, I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll make some time for it next year when it's out on Netflix. And maybe I'll check it out. I don't know. Probably not. But it is what it is. This is self-inflicted. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.